This is Adam Watson.
Robert Diaz.
Levon Baker.
You're listening to the Darkslinger Mafia podcast. There hasn't been one for, I think, a month.
You haven't done one in my long absence?
No, we did do
right.
one, but during the middle of it, Trinity exploded a Pyrex dish, and it never, what do you call them? Posted, aired? What do you say when they're a podcast?
Uploaded?
Posted, I guess, yeah. So I never posted it because the first half that we recorded and the second half were like two completely separate things because we started having a conversation while we were cleaning up all the Pyrex dish. And so it made no sense as a podcast. So I was just like, let's scrub that, come back to this later. But is there anything you guys have been up to that's been interesting in that time period?
Work. That's all. That's
Okay.
all I've been doing.
Yep, because you have a new job.
Yep.
And it's a new important job.
Yep.
Ooh.
I've been working, like crazy. I didn't go home one of the days this week.
Oh, wow.
No, I went home for a few hours, got a call, had to go back. It took so long. I stayed there, went back, just got to work the next day.
So that's more responsibility than Robert's ever known his entire life.
Yeah, look at that.
Who are you?
What about you, Levon?
Definitely work. It's been a lot of craziness up there, getting ready for the 4th of July.
It's only craziness because how many tweakers come into your work, but go on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. So I'll tell a little short story about that because it's fun and interesting, and, everyone likes to hear tweaker stories.
Are these the same tweakers that are trying to get you to come hang out with them in their van? The one that was like...
The mask guy?
Yeah.
The clown? No, he's been back. He hasn't worn any, fancy masks or anything, though.
Okay.
Just his zitty, nasty face.
He must have exchanged his mask for more meth.
That's what I would think. So that's probably why they were wearing costumes. They went to a costume party, and then they're like, dude, I'll give you this half pig face.
Half pig face?
Yeah.
For one meth.
For one meth. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so we have an employee who I will not name.
Okay.
That her husband doesn't work at the store. He just always shows up.
Okay.
I've only met him twice in my life. And, it was at a meeting. So I don't know how to describe what he looks like because I've never seen him, right?
Okay.
I've seen him once, 2 years ago.
You just said you've never seen him.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Statement.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I've seen him once in my life.
The story's falling apart.
It gets worse. So I go to work, and I'm working, and my manager's there. And she's telling us that if this guy shows up at work, we're to call the cops and have him be served with papers for trespassing.
Okay.
I'm like, what the hell?
So he's been 86th, in other words.
Yeah. So somewhere along the lines, he came to work and was trying to get propane and was smoking next to it, wouldn't put the cigarette out.
Okay.
Refused to put it out, and then started getting in the kid's face. Yelling at him and telling him that he can do whatever the hell he wants, right? So they went ahead and just pumped his propane to get him out of there. Then she tells me that our old deli manager, who quit a couple months ago, lives somewhere up Sawtell area. He shows up at her house in the evening and knocks on the door. Her husband lets him in. Thinks that he's just a friend from work or something.
Okay.
She gets home and he starts getting in her face and starts yelling at her about how last year she told his wife that she was going to give her a coffee gift card for her birthday, and it's her birthday, and he better fucking get that card right now because she's expecting that card. And she's like, what are you talking about? Started getting in the husband's face. And so her husband ended up pulling a gun on him, cocked it, and put it up to his face and said, get the fuck off the property.
So the guy came into their house, faked his way into their house just because he wanted the woman to give his wife a $5 coffee card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just making sure I understood it.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So, they're not friends.
Mm-hmm.
She's never given her address to them.
Okay.
On top of that, we don't give out addresses at work, and they're not posted on the board. We have
It's a
phone
good idea
numbers and
not
stuff.
to.
Yeah. And
so that people don't show up demanding coffee cards.
Exactly. So then he starts showing up at the store when she's there. And
Okay.
he's following her. Just
And wait,
tailing
this
around.
is the deli manager, or this is the guy that
So-
was 86 for propane?
So ex-deli manager is the one that he showed up at the house.
Okay.
He is married to one of the deli girls.
Okay.
Okay. He's older. He's like 50, 60-ish.
So they're the same person, is what you're saying, or not?
They're okay. I'll make up fake names that way. Like if anyone from work did.
Okay.
This.
Okay.
So Barbara's the ex-deli manager,
Okay.
and Amanda is the deli girl.
Okay.
He's married to Amanda. Showed up at Barbara's house.
Okay.
So now he's following Barbara around, and just everywhere that they go, they come up to the store. He just happens to show up, and he's still causing issues. So that all happens, and then I guess the next time, like a couple days later, shows up at one of our gas attendants' house, and gets in the dad's face, and he's like, you need to tell me where so and so is, because he made it extra hard for Amanda to work because he didn't take out the trash today. And the guy's like, he doesn't even live here. I'm his dad, but he doesn't live here, and I'm not going to give you his address. So we're under the impression that he's either getting people's information from someone, or he's following them home, right?
Okay.
Crashed his truck because he was drunk driving, completely totaled it, rolled it, so that's another situation.
Mm-hmm.
But just all this weird, bizarre shit's happening, and they're like, if he comes back, he's 86, he's not allowed on the property. Well, I'm working the other night, and of course it's the first night after she leaves, and it's just me and the regular cashier. There's this dude sitting out on the bench, and comes up to me, and he's like, hey, you gonna take a break now? Are you busy? I'm like,
What?
yeah, I guess. Like, there's no customers now, so yeah. Come sit over here by the corner of the building with me. Yeah, okay. And he wanders over, he's got like...
Why did you
Why
just
would
go
you say
along with
okay?
that?
Well, because when he got over to the corner of the building, I bailed into the store. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's like, I don't know, but he's clearly drunk and he's acting really weird and keeps coming in and asking about people that work here. I think he's the guy we're supposed to call the cops on.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, okay, well, neither of us know what he looks like. There's no description other than the fact that he had camo shorts on.
How hard is it to pull up someone's Facebook these days and do a screen capture?
Right? But yeah, so it's written on a piece of receipt paper. Had a hat and camo shorts on. Call the cops if he comes
not a
in.
description of his height, his weight.
Right? Yeah, so luckily, one of our other coworkers was sleeping in his van in the back of the parking lot. Because,
Fuck!
well, that's another story. He got evicted from our apartments.
Oh, okay.
Not on his terms, but the person he was living with.
Generally, when you get evicted, it's not on your terms.
Yeah.
But anyway, go
Well,
on.
I mean, like, it wasn't anything he did. It
Okay,
was the old
okay.
guy he was living with.
So you're saying it wasn't his fault?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
so now he's homeless and has nowhere to live, so they're like, well, you can sleep in your van in the parking lot, that's fine until you figure out where to go.
Huh.
So I text him,
So
like,
what is he doing for a shower, out of curiosity?
he goes to his friends and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Go on.
But yeah, so I text him,
That's
like,
actually what
dude,
went through my
I
head.
think this guy's over here, but I don't know, and you're, like, an assistant manager now. Can you come tell me this is him? Well, I guess. He woke me up. So, I'm like, dude, he's coming towards your van. He's knocking on your van now. Like, he just walked all the way to the back of the parking lot.
It's
knocked
like
on
the
van.
worst horror movie ever.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And he's like, I heard a knock. I don't know if it's him. And I'm like, well, look out the window. So the guy goes back over to the building, and he gets out and walks like halfway out, and he's like, yeah, that's him. Call the cops. So I called the cops, and I'm writing down the information, trying to figure out who he is. As he walks in the store, I'm walking out, and I'm like, hey, do you think he's about this tall? And then I see him coming in the door. I'm like, fuck.
He's
So,
gonna murder
and I
me.
like go back in the office, and then he leaves the store. I get off the phone. They're like, "Oh, they'll be on the way in a little bit." Just try to avoid him, and if he tries to leave, then just let us know where he goes. So I come out. He comes back in the store. And I have my arms crossed. I'm just standing against the counter, wasting time. There's no customers. I'm not going to go out there. Hey, you. Come here. I want to talk to you. I'm like, fuck my life. Okay. So I just started walking towards the door thinking...
Now, just out of curiosity, what does this guy physically look like? Like, height,
So
weight?
he's probably 5'6", 5'7".
So short.
Yeah, he's short, very heavy set, had scraggly long gray hair,
Okay.
Some nasty facial
So at
hair.
this
like
point, why didn't you just merely say fuck off?
Well, because I was trying to keep him there so we could get the trespass thing. Because,
Okay.
And that's about 200 pounds heavier than Levon.
Right. Well, and the thing is that
true.
even if he's 86, we can tell him to leave. But unless we have a trespass thing, we can't really do anything.
Right.
So if he just stays there, we can call the cops again.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, fuck it. Management isn't doing anything about it. They're not calling the cops when he's here during the day. I guess I'm the one that gets to do it.
Okay, so he called you over.
Yeah,
Go on.
he's like, come over here, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, shit. So I start walking towards him thinking there's customers everywhere. Cashier's right there. I'm standing by the door. Come outside, I want to talk to you really quick. Okay. Well, I guess that works. I'll just stand in front of the door in front of the cameras.
No, you
You
need to stop going with people, man.
Hey, man, just come over on the side of the building. No, I gotta stay right here. No, really, just come here. I want to talk to you over on the side of the building.
No, really, I don't want
Dude,
you to
no.
knife me. I don't want you
Well,
to suck my
I'm-
cock.
I'm trying to get you away from the cameras. No, I gotta stay in front of the cameras, man.
He told you
Yeah,
that?
he's like, dude, I'm trying to give you a drag off my pipe. I'm like, it's cool. I don't smoke weed. You know. Thanks for offering, though. I'm gonna stay right here. Come on, man. I just want to talk to you about your uncle.
About your
My
uncle?
Which one? Oh, your Uncle Tom. And then I stupidly was
Your
like,
dad's
my
name
dad?
is Tom?
And he's like, yeah, last I heard he had a surgery. And I'm like, well, I can't tell you how my dad's doing because I honestly haven't talked to him in like 2 months.
How the fuck did you know that?
I don't know. And I was like, so maybe he knew because our previous manager was my dad's relationship person.
Right.
So maybe they had known each other through a mutual, like, you know, manager got dropped off in a meeting by my
But
dad.
you
He was there.
remembered the name Tom. and-
Yeah, so either that or he just knew my dad somehow. Or he's really
Relationship
fucking good
person.
at guessing names. And so I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's my dad. I haven't
I
talked to him.
think that pretty good at guessing names is the one that you can kind of...
Right.
I mean, if I Googled you, if I knew your name and Google it, it would come up with those websites that you pay money for, right? To
Right.
Tell you everything about people. But it would still list, like, possible relatives.
Right.
And so he probably is doing that. And
Well,
I think you can actually
yeah,
buy the
that's
info
what I
off
would
those
assume
websites
is-
for like 99 cents or something like that.
Yeah. It's like a one-day trial. You can do it.
But he would still have to know your last name to do that.
Right. So that's what was just kind of odd to me.
Well, my guess would be, okay, are your names, your full names written on the schedules?
No, it's just our first names.
Okay.
Um,
Where is the information kept that actually lists your full name?
that would be upstairs.
And does this girl have access to that area?
No, she's
Okay.
not accessible to it at all. From what I was told is they're going through a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just showing up at work when she doesn't want him to be there.
Okay.
Telling him that he needs to leave. You know, you need to leave, I'm at work right now. And then he causes a problem. Starts more shit up. But it was just weird. And so he's like trying to get me to go over and talk to him as the cop rolls up. And I was just like, I'm dipping back inside. But then I'm sitting there like, fuck, he knew my dad's name? Is he going to show up at my dad's house and start demanding, like, you know, that he tells him where I'm at now? Like he did with the other gas attendant? Or just showing up on the front porch of my apartment and knocking on the door? Hey, well, I followed you home because I'm walking the same direction as you, kind
Now,
of thing.
your dad is a fair bit bigger than you.
Taller-wise, yeah.
And he's been a traveling musician through part of his life, right? Am
Yeah.
I incorrect in assuming that he may potentially just slam something in the guy's head if he gets a...
You know, I would think that he would, but he's very non-confrontational.
Oh, he's a very passive person.
He would
Okay.
probably be more weirded out and just, like, try to get the guy to leave because he won't even call the cops.
Ah.
I would assume he's not one of those people that wants to get involved with anything.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's just bizarre, and so then I'm all freaked out that, like, of course, the one time that I have to deal with it, this guy could potentially follow me home.
Right.
And
You'd
he
be
was,
easy to follow home.
Right, see, and the thing is, he was holding, like, a bouquet of flowers.
Does he have a gun in it, like an old-time mobster movie?
No, what I've realized, and I could be completely off with this theory, is that it seems like a lot of the older men that hang out with the tweaker women carry around a bouquet of flowers like they're giving them a gift like a prostitute. Like they don't have a payment or like they're meeting up and they're like...
Do they put the meth in the petals?
It's possible.
Okay.
Like they could just shove something in the bottom and then hand it to them.
Okay.
The shit you notice when
Right.
you work nights on the corner.
Like just bizarre weird
Toads.
shit, yeah. But no, so like I noticed that he had it, and then they made him gather his shit up. But when I'm walking home, there's the same exact flower petals all the way down to the corner of the road that I live on. So they had sent him walking back through the middle of town. And I was like, well, fucking great. Like, this guy lives, like, way out of town, and he's walking through the middle of town. What's to say that he's not going to, like, see me while I'm walking to my mom's or to my apartment or the post office? Right. And not just fucking follow me back to my apartment. And so I got back, and I was telling Serenity, I was like, if a fat guy with scraggly gray hair knocks on the door, do not answer it. Call the cops. This guy could be following me home. But, yeah, basically that was what happened.
Yeah, so here's what happens, though. If he ends up following you home, take your skateboard and put it across his fucking teeth.
And someone was like, you need to start carrying a can of mace. Like, the other kids at work have a taser.
Mace is nice, but the thing is if you're hopped up...
Yeah.
You know, mace isn't going to put you down unless you have, like, the police grade shit.
Right, yeah, see, and, like, they're like...
On the other hand, taking your wheels from your skateboard and cracking someone in the teeth with it, that's going to put him down.
One of the kids is like, well, I have a knife. And the other one's like, well, I have a taser that I just bought last night.
It's
and I'm
easier
like, dude,
to claim self-defense with a skateboard than it would be a knife.
Right, see, and that's my thing, is to, like, I was followed by a tweaker when I lived in my old apartment. He would follow me up and down the road when I was going to work at night. And so, one night I just was being cool, and I'm going to demonstrate for you guys as I'm standing here because it's fun. But it's like 2 in the fucking morning, and I'm walking up to work to get my schedule, and I have my skateboard, and I just kind of, like, hop off of it, stomp on it, grab it, and just swing in the middle of the air like I'm practicing. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to totally kick some tweaker's ass.
Yeah, you'd scare me so bad if you did what you just did.
Right? And they're like, that's not scary at all. And I was like, I was practicing in case someone's behind the bush.
I really wish that I had that recorded. I would have put it on YouTube.
Well, and the funny part is then that probably just made me look like I was tweaking instead of defending myself against nothing.
It made you think that you were, or that made them think you were one of them. So.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably going to be like, hey,
it's kind of like zombies. They're not going to mess with you if you're one of them.
Right?
How many different stories do you have about nearly being kidnapped and murdered?
More than
he will have more and more and more until he finally doesn't work at the gas station.
Yeah. No, until he's finally murdered.
Or that.
One of these people is going to take you out.
Dude, yeah, it's...
you're going to have to, like, when creepy shit's going on like that, you're going to have to just start recording on your phone just in case.
That way
we know what happens.
Like, yeah.
We got the last
It's a good idea.
They finally got Levon.
It happened.
Tweakers at work, tweakers at the mall when I'm sitting in the van.
Just remember to drop the phone before they take you. So we at least have it up to that point.
I was at the mall for like hours yesterday and didn't see a single tweaker. You go there, all of a sudden it's like tweaker central.
Dude, yeah, I was sitting in the van and this guy's like coming up to the window.
Yeah, he's talking about Clackamas Town Center. He's not talking about the Lloyd Center.
Right. No, this guy's like trying to like ask me for money because I had the window down and I was smoking. Sticks his head into the car and he starts looking around.
You shouldn't smoke in your vehicle, by the way.
You should put your cigarette on his face.
Yeah, at that point I was avoiding.
If I saw you do that, I would smack your hand.
You have a car?
I don't smoke anymore, so.
No, he was smoking in Sterny's car.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, I haven't smoked in 3 weeks, but...
good for you.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's been kind of hard.
Yeah, I bet.
I did pretty good. I haven't cracked at all even when people are offering them to me, so...
So now that we've wasted 20 minutes with Levon's favorite story, now I'll bring it back to the business side of what's been going on.
Sounds about right.
So, non-business side, I got a new phone.
So fancy.
I know. It's very fancy. It's the top of the line. So.
Oh, yeah. Mine, too. Yeah.
Oh, yours looks like it. How did you break yours?
So, we're up most of the night working. And, I got like an hour of sleep. And then then we had to get back at it. And I had my phone in my vest pocket. And it was like first thing in the morning out on the road with one of the guys. We pull over, I get out, and I lean over to get something, and I guess it fell out. And I got back into the truck, and I was like, "Oh, hey," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know where that phone is." I must have just left it back at the office. I was out of it. I was still pretty tired. My caffeine hadn't quite kicked in yet, and we're driving around. We go back for lunch. It's like 11:30, and I'm looking around. I look around in there really quick. I'm like, oh, I don't see it. I'll look for it after I eat my food, and then
right.
I check a couple other vehicles because we were moving some shit around that morning. I'm like, oh man, I can't find it anywhere. Well, I threw some stuff in the garbage. I was in this other building. Maybe it was out there. Calling it, looking all over it. Can't find it. Spent like, I don't know, at least a half hour looking for it. Finally, well, the guy I was with that morning, he suggested, he's like, did you drop it on the road maybe somewhere?
Oh shit.
And then I was like, I don't know, man. So I didn't know if you could track Android phones the same way.
Not like you can iPhones.
I looked it up.
Well, you can if you have your Google account associated with it. It's actually really easy to do it there. That way.
Well, it's a Google phone, so you
have
an Android account.
Well, then all you got to do is just look at your timeline and see where it was last.
Well, I went on. I got one of the old dudes let me use his phone to Google how to find my phone.
Okay.
It triangulated it because it can only go so close to an area,
right?
And it triangulated it to like just off of I-5 at a Comfort Inn Suites. I'm like, shit, did someone find my phone? And the guy's with, he's like, no, that's right near where we were this morning. Let's go back out there. We'll cruise real slow, see if we see it. Found it. It still functioned. It looked like maybe we had accidentally ran it over on our way.
Oh, shit.
Because like the case, it was face up. The case was all scratched on the back. The phone, though, looks perfectly fine. Doesn't look broken. People can still call me. I'll hear it. My stupid-ass alarms are still going off. But I can't shut any of it off because the screen doesn't work.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I didn't take care of it on Friday because I was too damn tired, and I just wanted to get some sleep because I worked yesterday, too. And then yesterday after work, I went in to the Verizon store. I'm like, okay, how do I use my insurance? And they're like, oh, well, here's this number that you call. Well, fuck you. I drove all the way out here.
Does it help that I ran over my phone and I can't call anyone?
Yeah, seriously. How do you expect me to call someone? I don't fucking
right.
So I use my work phone to call them, and now I don't know. It might be like Tuesday before I get a phone.
That sucks.
It's kind of crazy, but
my old iPhone, the screen just periodically stopped working. It'll work if I don't touch it for like 2 or 3 hours and then go back. But it's like, this phone's like 4 years old at this point. 3 years old, 3.5, something like that. It's time to just get it.
Overheating, maybe.
I think part of it is overheating because it is doing it a lot worse on the really hot days.
That's what mine's been doing.
But
and everyone builds these things.
They were having
crap out.
Right. They were having a buy one get one free sale of Verizon, so I got the XS Max, and Audra got a new XR. So
Nice.
But anyway. Got everything finally taken care of with the printer situation.
Nice.
So, not the way I want it to be resolved. But it is resolved. So, basically what happened is... Do you guys remember that? Or do I need to kind of recap that?
You should recap for anyone listening about how your copies ended up.
I ordered Ghost Assassin from this printer named GH. Out of where are they at? Michigan, I think. And over half the order came completely damaged. And I'm not just talking little damages. Levon was here when I was unboxing them. So you can attest to how many copies were torn, how many had like these big old stains on the cover.
Folded in half.
That's worse than what I saw when you first opened them.
Yeah, the first box was
they just progressively got worse.
Yeah, wow. So over half of the run was damaged. And I had contacted them, very politely asked for, 50% refund. And that was after, I didn't ask for the refund until they gave me absolutely no other solutions after dealing with them for like a month, where they asked me to count every single copy, right? Well, I turned them into the BBB as well. And their response to the BBB was the most infantile, rude thing that you can imagine. It's available online to read. And it's so infantile, and so the BBB still said, okay, they responded, which is what they want, but they put in there that they had never had a customer pick apart a job like I had in their 20 years of business, and that they packaged those very well, which in my response, I'm like, and what did you package them with? You think that just throwing things in a box is packaging them? Really? But they went on about how they had done comics for other people and there wasn't a problem with that. Fantastic. So next time I go into McDonald's, if I order a hamburger that's supposed to have pickles on it, and I go in there and I'm like, hey, you forgot my pickles. And the 18-year-old who's working behind the counter says, well, it doesn't matter because the first 30 people that came through here, they got their pickles. What do you think I'm going to say as a customer to that? I don't give a shit what you did for your other customers. I give a shit what you're doing for me.
Right.
That's what matters, right?
Yeah, it sounds like they fucked up pretty bad.
Yeah, so since we'll have more time in the next podcast, maybe we'll go through the whole entire BBB complaint with like my response and everything, because it is the most infantile thing I've ever heard coming from a business. Yeah, Levon's already seen it, and their response is just, it's insane. I can't believe that they've been in business for 20 years and that's how they respond to a BBB complaint. But the bank, when I went to, and I'm not going to say who my bank is because they handled this, very well for me, but I'm not going to go into too much depth on that end, but they fucked up when they were supposed to be contesting the charges. So when I spoke to them, I very clearly told them I had received the product, but the product was damaged. And then walk them through everything that happened, right? Well, I don't hear about this for months. I think like a month and a half to 2 months ago is when I contested this with the bank. It could be off on that. It might be like a month, but it's somewhere along
sounds like a month and a half, yeah.
Yeah. I contested it, and I get this letter in the mail on Friday that says that I lost. And it said that since they proved that the items were delivered. So I call them up and I start going rounds and rounds with the customer service representative. And I'm just like, okay, what did you guys contest this with? Because the way a bank contestation works is that Visa is still the credit card processor. And so the bank has to contest it with them, who then contest it with their customer, right? And what they contested is that the item wasn't received. I was like, you guys did not do this correctly. You were supposed to contest that the items weren't received in the condition they were sold in. So I explained this multiple times. The lady's like, oh, I understand. But what? That's not even an option with Visa. I was like, yes, it is. Because Visa is a credit card processor somewhere in there with Amazon, with eBay, with PayPal. And guess what you can say on every single one of those? Item not as described, right?
Right.
He said, you guys did not choose the right option. Well, I don't know what we can do in this matter. The worst thing you can do when you're in a situation like that is let them hang up on you. They cannot end the phone call until you've ended it. Don't know if you know that or not.
I had no idea.
That is good to know.
But banks cannot, eBay cannot, PayPal cannot. None of these places can. They have to stay on the line until you've said that. That's why they always ask you after they know the conversation has come to an end if there's anything else they can help you with. But is there anything else they can help you with is also a way for them to try to stop the phone call.
Right.
Because if you get off the phone with them, they can pretty much mark it as closed, right? But if you stay on and you keep being a dick and you keep bitching, then you have some power with all of those types of companies, right? So remember that when you're dealing with your phone carrier, with anything. I said, you are my bank, which means that I pay you to manage my money. How well are you managing it if you've allowed someone to steal $2,000 from me?
Yeah.
And to that, she's just kind of like, whoa, I see your point, but there's nothing I can do. I said, okay, well then there's somebody that's there, that's above you, that can do something. So who's that person? So she transfers me over to an account specialist, which if I had realized that that was like who I need to talk to in the beginning, it's what I would have done. I spoke to him and I explained the situation. He's like, okay, well, if that's actually what you told us to contest it as, it's going to say that in the original phone call you made. It's going to be in the recordings. I was like, okay. So how do I get a hold of those recordings? What do you mean? I said, are they subpoenable? I don't like what you're saying. And I was like, well, I'm just wondering. Just give us 2 days to figure this all out. Okay. I get a phone call back in a half hour. I listened to all the recordings. You're correct. We're going to cover the cost. So in the end, I didn't get the refund from the printer. I got it from my bank. Am I glad that I got my money back on something that I didn't receive in the correct condition, of course I am. That's the outcome I wanted. But I didn't want the outcome to be that my bank gave it to me. I wanted the outcome to be that the printer had to refund the money.
Right. You think that the bank's going to go after your printer for it?
The bank can't. They contested it incorrectly.
So they're just
they cannot contest it again.
They're just eating that cost then.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
in the end, I guess it's not a huge loss to them, but it's still a loss.
I mean, it's good for you, but at the same time, it kind of sucks because then if it potentially happened to anyone else,
right? Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It sucks because these printers are still being allowed to be bad printers,
right?
You know, so with the exception of telling anybody who wants to listen on which printers to use and which not to, hey, don't use this one. I don't know that I can really do anything else, you know, because I got my money back, so.
Right. So did you get to keep any of the product that wasn't damaged?
Yeah, I don't have to send any of that back.
Okay, well that's cool.
And I did explain that it was only half of it that was damaged to begin with.
Right.
But with the bank, it was like the whole amount or nothing. They didn't want to just contest half of it. So
yeah. You want to take it outside and burn it?
No, I don't.
So they can burn it with Who Will Save the World.
Yeah, that burning Who Will Save the World still seems like a bad idea to me.
I can think of a million things you could do with it.
With the damaged product? Yeah. I don't know what the hell to do with it, honestly.
Well, you were saying before, like, Christmas ornaments and stuff made out
of might need a decoupage or something.
Yeah.
Try to make it something else.
You could, even the damaged ones that are torn up, you could tear the pages so that the panels
make
look like
buttons
they're all
out of them, things like that, yeah.
Exactly. Got to be creative with it, but...
Or maybe Robert's right. Maybe I'll start the barbecue with something.
So every time you need to start, light a page up and stick it in there.
So there was that, and then I'm working on the next big project, which is Chronicles Von Helsing hardcover. And I've got a little bit of coloring done. I've got a lot of page corrections done. I think I have almost all of issue number 2 totally corrected page-wise.
Nice.
And so if you don't know what I'm talking about by page corrections, it means that there are several spots that I'm straight up redoing the artwork.
You're not an artist.
I'm pretty good at Photoshop, though, after all the years of doing this.
No, they actually look really good.
Yeah, right. Probably just having Levon doing your taking the credit.
No, Levon is very slowly working on his Prato. So he actually looks like he finished page number 1, though, so we should be able to post that this week. And then I told him he has exactly 1 week after the posting date to produce page number 2, or I'm going to put his Ghostbuster panties over his face, punch him in the nose, and see if the period panties absorb any blood. So, and he agreed to that. So
it'll be an interesting theory.
That was out of fear, though.
Yeah.
I don't care what it's out of.
Poor panties. Ruined forever. Well, I mean, but if they're period panties, maybe they won't be ruined.
Maybe not. So in addition to that, done 2 cons and 1 signing since we last podcasted.
Wow, where are your cons at?
The cons were Sasquatch and Frankenstein. And the Sasquatch
good for me at Frankenstein?
I'll be right back.
You know, I bought quite a bit, but I'll actually get into that, and then it'll make a bit more sense. So Sasquatch, we did not meet shit, really.
You didn't make shit?
Did not make shit. The only thing, so it was Elias and I that went to that one.
Like at all? No, like...
No, I mean, we had a few cells, but there really were not that many people there. So it cost more than it made, but...
When
Eugene.
was it?
It's in Eugene.
When was it?
Oh, when was it? It was at the end of May. Or no, it was at the beginning of May. It was in May.
End of May, you know, that kind of... You got to contend with people going out of town around that time.
Right. But on the upside, there was a guy who had all these boxes for 25 cents a piece. Then I'm looking through, and I found handfuls of $20 issues in there.
Ooh.
Yeah, so apparently these comics were just something that this guy just had sitting around, and he didn't want to take the time to look up a single solitary one of them. So
you didn't want to just offer them for the box?
The whole boxes were not worth offering on. It was more worthwhile to just cherry pick. But I got quite a few minor keys and a lot of stuff in those boxes that were in the $5 to $20 mark, with actually more of them being on the $20 side.
Good things?
Yeah, some stuff that's actually really hard to find. Like, you never, ever see the final issues of the Ghost Riders 1990 series. You just, like, don't find those.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, because you've been looking, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that those final issues all go for like $10, $15, $20 a piece or more. Jeez. And they're probably going to go up more when the Hulu show comes out, right?
Oh, I didn't know they were doing one of those.
Yeah, they're doing one. It actually sounds kind of cool because it's multiple Ghost Riders are going to be in it, not just one. Because they've had many in the comics. You know, there's Danny Ketch, Johnny Blaze, Robbie something or other. Rodriguez, maybe. He doesn't.
Those cages back in there.
He doesn't drive or ride a motorcycle though. He drives a car that becomes his.
That doesn't sound as cool.
I know it doesn't to me either, but you know, hey, whatever. So Nicolas Cage being in it, probably not, but I like him as Ghost Rider. I don't care what anyone says. And I thought Ghost Rider 2 was actually entertaining when the kid asks
There was
him,
a second one?
Yeah, and the second one has Danny Ketch as a little tiny kid in it, and so he's like trying to protect him. But he asks him when he's Ghost Rider, how does he pee and what does it look like? And like Nicolas Cage is thinking, and it shows Ghost Rider like moving his hips around like fire hydrant style with this big huge flamethrower, like going over where he's like, it's hot. It goes all over the place. It's actually a pretty funny movie, but I don't know if funny is what they were going for, but you know, it's entertaining. So, in any case, I got enough that I think I'll make money on the back end of it, you know, just not actually there. And then for a comic book day, it went pretty well. There were a lot of kids there this year. There was this really funny little guy who was maybe 7, who comes up to me. And he's like, hey, do you create these things? I'm like, yeah, I create these things. Did you create Dogman? No, that was the guy who created Captain Underpants that created that. Well, I like Dogman. Do you know if he's here? I want to get his autograph. No, I don't think he's here. Well, do you know if they're giving away any Dogman comics? I was like, I don't know that either. Oh, well, I really like Dogman. Do you do a lot of these things where you go to these things? It's like, yes. What are the things called that are actually in buildings and they don't have the shop in them? It's like a convention? Yeah. If you're at one of those and you see, and he knew the name of the guy who created Dogman, of course, you know, it's just me who doesn't. It's like, if you see him and you meet him, can you tell him I like his comic? Yes, I can.
Little kid?
Yeah,
That's
the little
awesome.
guy when we're at Free Comic Day.
I hope that you come across that guy one day. And,
Right? And I just tell him that. Yeah. So, anyway, Frankenstein went fantastically. Best show I have done in years.
Really?
Yeah, so for starters, my placement at it was awesome. Because we were the first table as you entered the room, right?
Nice.
And there were always people up there. And the people who would stop and ask, I kept hearing when they were talking to other people, because they're like, hey, have you seen this in there? The, person who was looking to be like, hey, dude, this is all alphabetized. Just look, and they'd be like, holy shit, this is alphabetized?
Yeah.
And
Just
so,
having something alphabetized is the way you should fucking do it.
Right? But being right up front like that and having it all alphabetized kept a number of people just at my table for most of the time they were at the show.
I'll spend maybe a few minutes looking at someone's shit that isn't alphabetized.
Right?
Yeah.
So
after that, I'm walking away.
One thing I did differently with this one is I took the magazine boxes, but I left the complete sets in the trade paperbacks at home this time. Because not only has most of that stuff been seen at these shows already, but you guys have done enough shows with me. Where's your S box? Where's your X box? Where's your Z box? Right?
Right.
How often do we hear that shit?
Every time.
Right? So, I took Amaya with me this time around. First time I'd ever taken one of my kids to help me out of the show. She did fantastically. She did great. And
She likes to talk a lot. So
she does. And, people see a nice, friendly young lady, and she's more approachable than we are.
Right.
You know, like any of us.
Well, and it probably helps if you have kids walking around that they're not
Right.
going to approach some older person. A kid's working here? I can talk to the kid.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, within 10 minutes of it opening, maybe. No, it hadn't even opened yet. Within 10 minutes of me setting up, I already found a $50 issue in somebody's 25-cent bin.
Nice.
So that was pretty sweet. It is a really rare X-Men comic that you had to... Okay, so I don't even know if you guys remember this, but do you remember AOL and NetZero?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had AOL.
And Earthlink and all that. Okay. Marvel tried its own version of that when the X-Men movie came out. And if you stayed signed up to it for 3 months, you were supposed to get this limited edition X-Men comic. Thing is, they didn't mail out like half of them. And it's super fucking rare. But the cover of it doesn't indicate what it is. So you gotta know what it is when you see it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I knew what it was.
It's not. I'm not like a particularly big X-Men fan, and I don't really care to collect many things. But that actually sounds pretty cool. Like something I would collect that.
Yeah, because it's nice and obscure, right? So
yeah, it's kind of funny.
This guy had a weird amount of kind of obscure giveaway comics in his bins. And giveaway comics used to be something that people would just toss. Like, you know, the X-Men comic, the Blockbuster gave away, for instance. That was a trick-or-treat special that, if I remember right, it was supposed to tell kids how to safely trick-or-treat people's houses. And this was back in 1994, before businesses had really got in on it, you know?
Right.
And it's like, hey, you know, come to our business. It's a lot safer than going to that guy's razor-bladed apple house.
Right.
But anyway...
That's why you don't take apples.
That's right. You never
throw
take
them back
apples.
at the house.
Right? You throw them at them and drive the razor blades right into their wall. So,
Yeah.
anyway. So, he had quite a bit of a stat going. These giveaway comics. And then another thing he had in there, I think I bought like 10 issues in total from him. And he told me, since I was a dealer, he had them 50 cents a piece, but he's like, since you're a dealer, how about just a quarter a piece since you're buying a small stack? I'm like, okay. So there are these DC comics that came out. Maybe you guys are old enough to remember these, maybe you're not. Do you remember when places like Toys R Us and places like that had the packs that were like the multi-packs in plastic cases? And they were discounted from whatever the cover prices were, and it was like a secondary company was selling them, and sometimes there'd be like trading card packs and other stuff like that too.
Didn't see comics growing up as a kid, so no.
Okay. Well, the packs that places like Toys R Us had like these reprint, or they didn't reprint. They gave away the whole month's worth of comics. So like every Superman comic, Batman comic, Catwoman, they'd put like 24, 25 comics because that's what the output of DC was or whatever, you know. Well, they put like 24, 25 DC, Valiant, Marvel issues that all came out that month, right? And since some of the DC issues had sold out to the comic shops, they actually did reprints for these value packs that the only way you can tell them apart is instead of having something in the barcode area that's like a barcode or a Superman emblem, every single one of them says DC Universe. Most of the comics these are on are like 50-cent issues, with the exception of the fact that there is a variant that exists for these. It's a first appearance of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
But all the variants go for like 15 to 30 bucks a piece, despite the fact these are like 50-cent bin issues, right? Well, I pulled one of those out of this guy's for a quarter. And then Image Comics is kind of the same thing. Back in the 90s, they actually distributed their books to the newsstands. And those books can go anywhere from like $5 clear up to $250 if they just have the UPC barcode on them indicating their newsstand version.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was going through the comics to make sure that those that you priced were correctly priced, and you had one of the $200 issues at 50 cents because you didn't see that there was a barcode. And if I didn't teach you about early Image newsstands, why would you know, right?
Definitely didn't know that Image had barcodes.
So I find one of these. Now, the one I found in his bin was only a $10 one. Still, $10 that I paid a quarter for. Who the fuck cares, right?
Right.
So I picked that up. We moved a little bit over a full long box at the show. Sold a lot of shit. Picked up some good stuff to sell. And picked up a few things for me personally. I picked up the deluxe edition of Saga in hardcover format, the first volume, for $15, which, nice. It's like a $40 cover price, so I was happy with that.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm walking around and there's this guy who has just the weirdest looking boxes. You know how, like, Frankenstein, you'll see people who glued together a box out of, like, 16 different cardboard cereal boxes.
Random shit.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell is this? And they put the weirdest price on them. Well, this guy had put 3 for $1 for anything in this box, right? And I start looking through it, and there's 3 brand new Image trade paperbacks in there.
Holy shit.
And so I pop up with him. I was like, hey, are these actually supposed to be 3 for $1? Yeah. Saying, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy those. So, Candy Mountain, which is one that I had been wanting to read, and I greatly enjoyed.
I think you told me to read that.
I just read it for the first time the other night.
Oh, I can't remember them.
It was probably one that I was saying I was on the lookout for. So now I want to get the second volume. There's only 2 volumes of that one. It only went 8 issues. So that's nice. But it's about a hobo during the hobo era looking for the mythical rock candy mountain that's in the song,
Big rock candy mountain.
Yep. So, and he's made a deal with the devil. He sold his soul to the devil so that he never loses in a fight. So,
oh my god.
So while he's looking for Rock Candy Mountain, the devil's looking for him because he's ready to take his soul whether he wants to give it or not.
Just can't find this damn hobo.
Right.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, the artwork took a little bit to get used to. It's definitely not your normal comic fare, but it was quite enjoyable. And it had a nice little surprise in there for something I paid roughly 33 cents for. When I opened the front cover, turns out that the artist had sketched on the first page.
Really?
So this guy clearly bought this at a convention, didn't like it, so he threw it in his $3 for $1 bin. Cool with me, because I did like it. The other one I picked up is something called Great Pacific. The artwork was pretty mediocre. The story, I could see a lot of people liking it, just not me. So I only read the first issue, and I was like, hey, whatever, I paid 33 cents on it. Even if I sell it for $2 at a con, cool.
Yeah.
Right? And the third one is a book I've actually been wanting to check out for a while called Godland. Can't tell you what it's about because I haven't read it yet.
But you want it.
I know I want it because I like the covers.
Oh, okay.
You know how sometimes you see the covers for something and you're just like, that looks like something I would enjoy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that it is one that has been continuously rising in value for the single issues. Generally speaking, with the independent stuff, it doesn't rise in value if it's not good. With Marvel or DC, it can raise for the dumbest ass
arbitrary
reasons. Yeah,
yeah.
And it may not be a good comic at all. And it might end up being worth like $5,000, right?
Right.
But generally speaking, something that comes out through like Image or Dark Horse or whatever, the cream rises, Like Nell Biter, those issues, the first issue went up in value. Why? Because it's a great fucking story. Oh, which, by the way, I now own the hardcover to the second edition of that, so you can have the trades that covers, Robert. But
do you have trades of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I owned all but the last trade, and now I own the second hardcover.
I don't even know where the hell my first trade went.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember giving it to you, and I don't remember if you gave it back, and I don't remember if so.
Well, it would be over there on that shelf if I didn't.
And I don't remember if, because I thought Hippie wanted to read it, and I didn't know if maybe it went to him.
If it did, it's probably covered in piss.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. I don't want to talk about that one on the podcast. But anyway, at the end of the show,
quick question. What? How many do you have?
5.
All but the last?
All but the last.
1 through 5?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have number 2.
I think
that's his.
I think number 3 and 4 I don't need anymore because I now have the hardcover that collects them because In Stock Trades was having like a fire sale on that and Southern Bastards, and so I bought both of them for super
I thought
cheap.
about buying that before off of that site, but I was like, no.
Yeah, it was like, I think I paid $11 for it.
Damn.
So,
well,
and I like hardcovers, you guys know that. So.
Yeah.
I think I have number 2, and I think that's Hippies.
Yeah, it could be, but, if he peed on your first one, then whatever. So, so anyway, as I'm leaving the show, one of my friends comes up to me, It's like, hey, I need to drive back to Newport tonight, and I can't haul all this shit. So come make me an offer on my boxes. And I was like, okay, I would have to figure out the logistics of driving all this home, and I have no idea if I can fit everything. I know I can fit a couple more boxes than what I think, but I got no clue if I can get them all, right?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen any of what was in any of the boxes. But I kind of do a quick glance through them, and I see Crossed. And I know generally any issue of Crossed I can get like $5 a piece for. And you're a real sick fucking weirdo if you buy that series, but...
I don't know what that is.
It's kind of like zombies, but the people who are crossed. The first volume, I read it just to see what it was, and there's like a guy who's chasing people around with a torn off horse cock, trying to beat him with it.
That sounds pretty weird.
It is
but
weird.
Weird shit sells.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I could probably get at least $5 a pop off those. So, yeah, what do you want? She's like, well, make me an insulting offer.
An insulting offer?
And I said, $5 a long box. That's too insulting. I'm like, okay, what do you want? 15 a long box. That's not that much less insulting than $5 a long box.
She did say insulting, though.
Right? So long story short, I bought all 5 of them. So then we're getting ready to leave the show, and the guy who I had been, who I bought the issues off of earlier in the day.
The 3 for $1 guy?
No, the 4 for $1 guy.
Oh, okay.
The guy who had all the giveaway comics in his bins. He comes up. Turns out he had been looking at the heavy metals at one point in time. You guys know what sucked to back the most in and out of these shows all the time is the magazine boxes. They're way heavier than the comic boxes. So he comes up. He wanted to make a deal on all the heavy metals. So I ended up getting like, I think 8 action figures from him and $50 in exchange for the heavy metal issues I had.
Damn.
So I was like, yeah, this has been a great show. So anyway,
Hell
long
yeah.
story short, ended up being my most profitable and successful show I've done in a very long time.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And
So-
have you looked through all those boxes that you got?
I have. I've actually, I've alphabetized each box individually. I pulled out a few things that I wanted for me. Turns out there were 4 trade paperbacks in the boxes.
Of anything good?
The one thing I've actually been wanting to read for a while, and not only is there a trade to it, but I think the actual series was only missing 3 issues in total, I think. And it's called Wolf and Bird, Attorneys for the Macabre, and then the name changed to Supernatural Law. And it's about these attorneys who specialize in representing like Dracula and, that kind of stuff. And, right up the same alley as Inspiratu and that kind of stuff.
Sounds pretty
Birdman, attorney at law kind of thing.
It predated that, but probably that kind of thing, yeah. And so I've never actually read it, but the creator of it sadly passed away a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's
And
unfortunate.
I know that a lot of the really top independent guys, they list this guy as an inspiration to them. Like Jeff Smith did a pinup in one of the issues, Jeff Smith's creator of Bone. And there were a lot of people. So I didn't see like a big fan base talking about him the day he passed away, but I saw a lot of creators I respect.
Yeah.
Which to me says a lot more, because if the creators are really into you, there's probably a really good reason for that,
Right.
Whereas, if you're just like a fan favorite, that might mean that you just had a few flash in the pan series,
Yeah.
And you may end up just being forgotten in a couple of years. Whereas if like the creators list you as an inspiration, that kind of stuff, then, you have some sort of thing going on there, right? So anyway, I want to read that. I think it seems pretty good. The others that were in there was like a ninja looking thing that actually looked entertaining to me. I don't think it's going to be some, epically awesome story in terms of, oh my God, this changed my life or whatever. But it looks like something entertaining, and that's all I'm looking for when I'm reading most of the time. Then the other trades that were in there, I can't think of off the top of my head. I know one of them was an older Image book, but I don't remember which one.
Anything I want to read.
Possibly. I mean, who knows? You might like the Supernatural Law. After I get done reading it, I'll let you know if I think it's something you want to read or not.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think that about does it for today. So, we're not really going to talk about anything other than recapping what's been going on since we last recorded. So
It's been a minute.
That makes it easier next time.
Next episode, I'll leave it up to you guys if we want to go into the BBB complaint or if we want to talk about what's coming up for Darkslinger.
Sounds good.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it won't take as long as I think to discuss a complaint, and we might be able to get both done, but...
You could always shoot for both, and then if you have to, split it into 2 parts.
Right. Oh, I also got a negative feedback removed this week.
Nice.
From eBay, so, you know.
Yeah, that was me.
I almost never get those. And this guy messaged me, and he had sent me the message in Portuguese, right? So I have to go out of my way to have it translated, which always pisses me off when somebody doesn't translate it before they send it to me. And I thought that eBay had those services already, so that confused me.
Yeah, I thought it did it automatically.
I thought so too, because I don't even know if I'm dealing with somebody domestic or international unless there's an issue, because it all just gets shipped domestically and then eBay takes care of it, you know, somewhere along the lines. But this guy had bought 3 tablets that said right in the beginning, 4 parts or repair, and then detailed the damage every one of them did.
Yeah.
You were working with me when I listed those.
Yeah.
And he sends me a thing and he's like, "You are a cheater. You send me broken broken tablets." And he details all the damages that we not only listed, but pictured. And then I look at my feedback score and he's left me a negative and it's like, "Cheater sells me broken things, then makes demands of me."
What the
and
fuck?
I was like, "What? What demand? I got one message from you this morning. What are you even talking about?" So I just called up eBay right away, and once again, just like with the bank story, take the time to call. Because I call up and I'm like, "Hey, so I got this feedback that I don't deserve." "Oh, let me look at it. Wow, this is a weird one. It claims you are making demands, but there's no messages exchanged between you except for this one that is telling you that you're a cheater because he didn't take the time to read the listing." Okay, I see what happened here. Okay, feedback's from him.
Damn. Nice and
They
easy.
can just go in and look at everything right up there.
Yep, they have everything just right there. So
You
the whole
don't have to,
process...
you don't have to send him anything. You don't have
Nope.
to let
that makes
them
it
do
so
anything.
much easier.
The whole process of the phone call took about 3 minutes.
Nice.
I guess that's the easy way when they can control everything.
Right? Yeah, but you know how many people get negative feedback and things like that on eBay and Amazon that they don't deserve? But they won't take the time to do anything about it, and then they just sit around on like YouTube complaining about how eBay and Amazon marketplaces are horrible, and they just let buyers, give them negatives and da-da-da.
Yeah.
But they never take the time to do anything about it.
That's crazy.
I left a negative feedback once on something that I bought.
I'm not saying that somebody can't deserve them. There's plenty of people that can deserve them.
Amazon refunded me my $3.
What was it?
It was a book, because I ordered a few used books at once from various places.
Okay.
And, it said that it was good, but some damage.
Okay.
And it didn't say that it was too much damage, just like some wear and tear.
Right.
Pretty heavily read book. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't care. It's $3.
Right.
I'll take it. And I got it, and it was a lot more bendy than I expected. The cover was nearly off.
So it should have been listed as acceptable, not as good.
I left a 1-star thing, and really quick they got back to me like, "Oh, sorry about that. Here's your $3."
Yeah, that's because
I wasn't even trying to get money back. I just wanted to be like,
you
"This is
sell on Amazon, and you get a negative of any sort, they alert you, and it's like it is phrased as a warning, like, "Hey, you keep your feedback at this level, or we will ban you from our site."
I guess that's one way to...
The thing that does suck about Amazon versus eBay, though, is, it was that easy for me to get on the phone with eBay.
Yeah.
Amazon, good luck. You're a seller on their platform, good luck.
I wasn't even trying to get my money back. I just wanted to leave a little review as to, hey, this is not the condition.
Yeah, and you were just being truthful.
Yeah.
I hate that when people don't. I won't list anything as very good unless it basically looks brand new.
Yeah.
Other people's like new is my very good. It's just kind of what I go with, right? I'd
Right.
prefer to overgrade things than undergrade them. And I almost never, ever buy things used on the internet. Just because I know better than to do that.
Books don't matter to me.
Right? But I
fine.
bought the Hell City Complete Edition because eBay was nice enough to send me like a $10 gift certificate a few months ago, and so I got Hell City Complete Edition because I'd been wanting that for a really long time. Company listed is very good. It shows up. It's got a big old Goodwill price tag on the back cover. The corners are bent as can be. How can you consider this very good? Like, do you have eyes? Do you actually look at things? But then again, it's a better idea to just buy things that actually have pictures of the item too.
Right.
So
yeah,
they
I
just
won't
use
buy
those
anything with stock
placeholder images,
photos.
right?
Yeah.
This makes me iffy.
Mm-hmm. To me, it depends on what it is.
Yeah, it's true. Well, stock photos for me are fine when it's
Stock
on, like,
photos,
in
I
stock
don't-
trades.
I don't care for stock photos, but if it's a $3 book that I already know is used and it's coming it came from like the New York Public Library, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll buy a book used.
You're not as picky as we are.
Well, yeah, see, my only thing with that is it depends on, like, if it's something I'm specifically seeking out for a reason, then I won't buy it if it has a stock photo.
Yeah, there was that, too.
First edition books, unless it has actual pictures, then I'm not going to order it if it's a stock photo, because I've had bad experiences and got first edition second prints.
Yeah.
And, like,
Ninja Turtles, if you're talking about those, are hard to tell.
it was the
well.
RPG book, the first one. So I was looking for the first edition. Said that it was, and when I got it, it was the revised edition. And I was like, well, I spent $50 on that, and I could have got it for $25 if I wanted that version.
With Ninja Turtle comics, is it like Gobbledygook and number 1 both? You basically have to have the paper tested to make sure they're actually a first printing of the book.
Yep.
Because they were made with, like, Xerox machines. And so good luck proving that you actually have the first print of that book. Anybody with a Xerox machine could just make it look like it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's number 1 as well. I know it's
Number
Gobbledygook
1
for
has
sure.
an advertisement in the back.
Uh-huh.
That's the only way you would know. Aside from,
Well,
I would assume
advertisements
paper.
you could copy too.
Right.
No, I'm talking about the paper because the paper that they're both printed on is just 20 bond printer paper.
Right. Yeah, it's the coloring on the front. Like, if you're just looking at, like, the front cover.
Right.
The
But
coloring on
basically,
the
if
front
you
of
just
the
bought
inside.
an old ream of paper that had aged
Yeah,
and you print it out on a Xerox, you have Gobbledygook and Ninja Turtles number 1.
exactly.
And I think that Ninja Turtles number 1 is slightly harder to rip off than Gobbledygook, but Gobbledygook is counterfeited left and right because of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll save the counterfeits for another episode because, hey, we could even get into the times that the mob bootlegged comics and Pokemon cards. Ooh. So we'll do Today I Found Out Comics Edition right here.
Sounds
and not
fun.
use that name because we don't want to get sued by Simon Whistler.
We'll come up with something else. Today I discovered.
Yesterday I learned.
All right. This is Adam Watson.
Robert Diaz.
Levon Baker.
Thank you for listening.